once again for the renegade master. Back 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 once again for the renegade master.
Hello my renegades and welcome back. And what are we getting into today? We are talking about Love is Blind. This time we're talking about Love is Blind Brazil, and it's season 3 and we're getting into episode 1. I have to say, with Love is Blind Brazil, the concept is still the same as all the other shows. It's still sight unseen, marriage sight unseen. I've always said that they get that concept ass backwards, to be fair, because you start off dating each other. Yeah, you don't meet each other. It's all about your values, your voice, how you click with each other without seeing that person. Then you get to meet the person when you get engaged, right? So you get engaged first, okay, but then you go on your honeymoon. This is why I say it's ass backwards, because then you go on a honeymoon, then you live with each other, and then you go all through that process then to get married at the end. But then after you finish and you've both said probably yes to getting married, which I've noticed in most of them, you then still have to pay for a honeymoon. What is the point? I would say, why don't you put the honeymoon at the end? You let me know what you think. So I would say, yes, you date. Yes, you ask the person to marry you. But my thing is why would they have to go on the honeymoon first? They should go straight to living with each other. Then go through the wedding process. Then if they go through the wedding process, then you get the honeymoon. But then I'm thinking I might be onto something a little bit, because now I'm thinking about it, they probably could do it that way because of the fact that, you know, too many people will probably say yes if they know there's a honeymoon at the end of it and it's being bought and paid for. Do you know what I'm saying? So I probably could see the merit in them doing it the way they do it, but I still think it's ass backward. But as I said, you let me know what you think in the comments. So my thing is as well is, why do people always get on these shows and then say, oh my God, it's so nerve-wracking because, oh, I'm going to be potentially talking to someone I may get married to at the end, sight unseen. Well, isn't that what you apply for? To be fair, you apply to the show, you know it's going to be sight unseen, because I'm sure they must give you disclaimers and all that shit and non-disclosure forms once you get on the show. You know what you're setting yourself up for. You'll know that you're potentially, hopefully, going to marry someone at the end of all of this, or find somebody to marry, just basically talking to them through a screen, to be fair. And I would still say, even though the process is long and they live together and then work and outside influences get involved, I would still say throughout that process, you don't necessarily know the person until you live together with them, because at the end of the day, because they go to self-contained flats within the show, like with the other shows, it's still kind of, for me, a protected environment. Yes, you're inviting people into that environment, but it's still kind of protected. Like say with the honeymoon as well, it's still kind of protected, because throughout that process, before you get to the flats, you don't have your phones, you don't have any outside influences or anything like that. So I'm thinking through that process, people could still kind of, I don't know, try not to show their full colours until they get a little bit further along. But you let me know what you think. So the couples start dating and getting to know each other. And I have a theory about this, actually. I actually have a theory, but you can let me know what you think. That when they do these shows, we're behind, so we're waiting to catch up to wherever they're at the point at in terms of Love is Blind. So when they actually do these shows, I've noticed that when they go into these pods, they show more of certain people. And I'm kind of thinking that maybe that those are the people that are actually going to come out there engaged, and we're just following on in terms of how their story began until we catch up with wherever it is that they've left off from now. But that's my theory. You let me know what you think. So my thing is as well, do these people have a sheet that they literally write everything from, or the same playbook that they use? Because all these men are coming here and they're literally saying the same thing. oh, I don't want to be on my own anymore. I'm at the point where I want to find a partner. I really want to get married to someone. Yada, 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 da, 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 da. And I think it's always the same spiel. Like, no one says anything differently in terms of what it is they're actually looking for in a person. It's always the same blanket spiel that I'm at this age. I want to get married. I want to share my life with someone. I expect them to be this way. I expect them to be that way. But yes, it is a little bit confusing because I'm doing it this way. So, as I said, we're getting women are in their lounge, men are in their lounge. And there's this one person that stands out called Valmir. Okay. Now, Valmir says that has knowledge and has read a lot of books. You can tell he's read the bloody books. And the reason why you can tell he's read the bloody books is because this man is like he's quoting word for word to these women. He's dating quite a few of them. And they're all feeling him. They're all getting into him and stuff. Why is this man telling all the women the same thing? Please, somebody tell me, why is this man telling all the women the same thing? I'm like, dude, you've got a men's lounge, so you know there's a women's lounge. You will go back and chat your business in terms of your dates to the men, so do you not think that the women are going to do the same thing? And you've got a freaking notepad in your hand. Do you not think that they're taking notes too? I don't know where he thought that game plan is going to work, because that's what he was doing. He had a full-on game plan in terms of how he was going to try and sweet these women. He sweeted some of them, definitely sweeted some of them, because they're all singing his praises, especially, I would say, Karen. But he had a special interest in Maria. He really wanted Maria. Now, my thing is like, if you really want someone, then you have to showcase to them that you're different to how you're telling the other women that you are. So you actually telling the people the same thing that you're telling each and every one of them ain't going to help your cause now, is it? Is it really going to help your cause? No, it won't. Well, let's just say Valmir fell flat on his damn face, basically, because all the girls basically chatted this man, proper chatted him. So when they go back into the lounge, the women are mentioning Valmir. Basically Maria's saying she doesn't really want to hear the chatter, and then at that point my head is thinking you always get one that doesn't want to entertain the chatter when it relates to a certain guy that they may be interested in and want to know more about, but they won't entertain the negative chatter, which in a way is quite good, but in another way ain't so good, because Valmir's playing the game. Like, he's playing the game, and he's coming off as though he ain't leaving there unless he's engaged to somebody. At the moment, he's got his sights set on Maria. So they're all talking about him, and basically they're listing everything this man said and the fact that he said the same thing to a certain level amount of women up in there. So basically a woman called Gabrielle turns around and says that in her VC that Valmir is trash, and calls him a shameless dog. I think to be fair, that's a little bit harsh. To call him a shameless dog is a little bit harsh, because at the end of the day, what you've got to think of, the concept of this show is to date people to try and get the outcome in which to get the proposal, in which to carry on with the experiment. Okay, so you're going to get some people that are more gung-ho than others in terms of getting what it is that they want and what they want out of the experiment. So at the end of the day, this show is about dating people. It's about dating people at the beginning. In them pods, it's about dating people, and you're going to cross over and date a plethora of people within that process. So to call him a shameless dog is a bit harsh in my estimations. He's a dickhead for telling the women the same thing. He's a dickhead on that part, I would say. But to call him a shameless dog is a bit harsh. But if you're like watching this program or hearing what I'm saying, then you let me know in the comments. So then you get Maria and Menandro, who decide to talk, and they're actually quite good in terms of talking to each other. They're quite positive. It is quite positive. And as I said, it's Valmir's gonna get competition for Maria, because in that men's lounge, when Valmir realised that Menandra was interested in Maria and wanted to see how things went with her, he wasn't necessarily talking to anybody else but her. Valmir was awful, like full on awful. He literally puffed up his chest, because he's a bit of a big guy, puffed up his chest like he was gonna box Menandro out, trying to warn Menandro away from Maria. But Menandro's gonna do what he wants to do, and at the end of the day, it's a dating show again. You have no dibs over any one person. You may like a person, but you need to realize that certain amount of other people are going to speak to that person too, and gauge an idea of what they want and who it is they want to speak to on more than one occasion. So for Valmir, I think he's going to fall flat on his damn face for doing what he's doing, because as I said, this man is going around like a fucking prize cock in a fucking cockfight, like he's the big I am. And I'm like, you need to dial that flipping ego down that you've got right now, my love. Otherwise, you ain't going to get very far with it, and especially with the person that you do want. So, as I said, Valmir and Menandra make it known that they're like the same person. And at the end of the day, the way that Valmir is carrying on is immature, absolutely immature. And at the end of the day, what they need to realise is the women that are going to choose whether they want to be with you or not. So you could propose to someone and they will not accept it. So for him to act the way that he's acting in the men's lounge right now makes not one lick of damn sense. Not one lick of damn sense. And I would say you need to calm yourself down, have a seat, wind your neck in, and calm yourself down. So you see Bianca and Jarbas make a connection. Jarbas is a bit intense, and he says that he falls in love quickly and hard. I would say that's not necessarily an appealing trait for me, because I'd want to know more about a person before I'm saying that I'm falling for them, because a lot of them throughout the show literally were saying I love yous. Like, I know that, you know, the edits and such make it look like it's over a quick period of time, but I do know that it's quite many hours in the day that they're going from pod to pod and speaking to people. But still saying that, I still think some people jump into this love mode pretty quickly. And I'm like, yeah, you're just talking to the person, you're vibing with that person, and it feels good to vibe with them and everything like that. But I just think the word love just gets thrown around like willy-nilly at the end of the day. But yous like can let me know what you think. Jarbas, he's made that connection with Bianca, but Jarbas then goes and speaks to someone else, and that speaking to someone else was a no straight away. Like, absolutely no. I mean, all he did was ask her name, and she then told him that he speaks too fast. So he slowed his question down. So she turned around to him and says, didn't I tell ya you need to talk lower and slower? You need to talk like this, and proceeds to show him how to talk. And Jarbas' face was just like, my face was like that too, because I'm like, what the hell? I was like, yeah, quick exit, that ain't the one, Jarbas already knew who was the one, and that was Bianca. So then you go into the second day. As I said, you've got Bianca and Jarbas talking with each other. You've got Maria and Valmir, who then spoke to each other. Now the flip with this is, like, Maria's very much aware of what Valmir had did at the beginning with all the women and this, that and the other. So Maria's sweeting him, like saying that she missed him. So they're laughing together and giggling together, and they were flirty. At that point, Maria didn't tell Valmir who he was speaking to, and Valmir had no clear idea of who he was speaking to. Bearing in mind, Maria is his top one, he's his top pick, and he spoke to Maria a couple of times before this. And you're telling me you still don't know the sound of her voice, but she knows the sound of your voice. Yeah, me thinks you've been talking to too many flipping women that you don't know how to separate or differentiate from any one of them. They kind of all sound the same to him. This is what I'm saying with Valmir. I don't know. I just don't know. I just don't know. So basically she then speaks to him and told him like what other women have been saying and the fact that he's been saying the same thing. So she literally just read him banged into rights. And so he basically told her why he spoke to a lot of women. He didn't realize he told them all the same thing. And then she turns around and says to him that she doesn't really want to talk to anybody else. And then after he kind of enjoyed that conversation and left the room, Maria was like, I want to speak to Menandro. And I'm like, hold on a minute, you just told the dude that you don't want to speak to anybody else. I'm just like, oh, is Maria playing a little bit of a game here? Is she playing Valmir at his own game? So then we get to Maria and Menandro. And as I said, them two clearly have their conversation, and then again it goes back to the men's lounge, and again you get freaking Valmir being so fucking cocksure as per bloody usual, and Menandro coming in like smitten with Maria because he just spoke to her. Then Valmir's like, I want to talk to you, and pulls Menandro to one side and basically was trying to tell him what Maria had said in terms of that she'd missed him, she didn't want to speak to anybody else. So Menandro was a little bit upset by that, because then after Maria had spoken to Valmir, Maria then wanted to speak to Menandro, so he was confused at this point. But as I'm saying, I'm thinking Maria is playing Valmir at his own damn game, basically. And as I said, he's just like, Valmir's just like a cock in a fucking bullfight, literally trying to stamp his claim on someone who has not claimed him. Yes, she can talk and whisper sweet nothings to you in the damn room with nobody else listening, but that does not necessarily mean that she's claimed your ass. And that's not what he's not getting that. He's just out to win. So again, Bianca and Jarbas talk. There isn't really much to say in regards to Bianca and Jarbas. I can say that they're the first couple to pick each other. Bianca and Jarbas are the first couple to get engaged and meet each other. And when they did meet each other, he didn't see her disability at all. He was literally full on, told her how sexy she was, that she was beautiful, held her hands, and they kissed. And then he asked her to like marry her, and then said he loved her, and then she said she loved him, and then they split their ways because, you know, after they've met, they've engaged, now it's time for them to bugger on off towards the honeymoon phase. So then we go back to the men's lounge, and someone calls Valmir over. I'll call this person a little shit stirrer, because that's what they were. Calls Valmir over to try and say that Menandro was crying in the bathroom. And when he says why, I think it was because of the fact that he was upset that Valmir had told him what Maria had said, because he's got all his eggs in one basket with Maria. That's how it is. He's got all his eggs in one basket with Maria's Menandro, and he wants Maria. Valmir's an arsehole. Like, that's how he came off to me. I don't know if any else of you are watching the program at all, but that's how he came off to me. He's an absolute entitled, arrogant arsehole. Like, fully arrogant. He didn't give a shit about Menandro's feelings whatsoever. He was like, I'm going to win what I want, and what I want is Maria, and she is going to come with me. We get to Maria speaking to Valmir again. And I'm telling you, that girl is definitely playing games with Valmir. She don't want Valmir. She doesn't. I think she's there. I think she's teaching him a damn lesson. Then we've got moves on to Karen, to a person called Karen. And remember when I said that there's always going to be one. And Karen's interested in Valmir. She's interested in Italu and Valmir. And basically she was saying she is not the type of person to listen to bad things about people. She doesn't badmouth Valmir at all. She hears what all the others says, but she definitely wants to learn more about Valmir. And I'm just like, have at it, girl. Have at it, because this man is just showing how freaking arrogant he is, and he thinks he is God's gift to women. He honestly does, to the point that he's about to fight some dude for a woman that ain't even picked him. And I mean, like, for real. I just don't, sometimes I just don't understand the mentality of some men. I really don't understand the mentality of some men. So then it goes back to the men's lounge, and Valmir is drunk. Absolutely 3 sheets to the bloody wind, this dude is. And again goes at Menandro. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, to me, he's toxic. He's toxic, and woe betide any woman that decides they want to put their all in with this dude, like, seriously, because to me, he's acting like an absolute twat. So basically what happens then is he goes, Valmir and Maria go and talk, and she turns around and tells Valmir that it's getting ugly out there for Valmir amongst the women. Basically Valmir just goes in on one, like, gets proper angry, starts raising his voice. And Maria's been in relationships where men have raised their voices at her, and it triggers her, and she doesn't like it at all. So she's literally telling him to calm himself down. Why is he shouting for? Is he angry? Because at the end of the day, Maria told him that she does not buy his explanation and believes that he's trying to play women up in this place. That makes him even angrier. And this man went on a tangent, basically saying to her that taking on board rumours are bad and rumours are not advice. And I was just like, dude, you're not doing yourself any favours here. Maria's made her choice now, and she's picking Menandro. She definitely ain't gonna pick you, and you're literally making it worse for yourself. So Maria, true to form, turns around and tells him that she's gonna go with Menandro. And I'm like, he's the better 2 of the option. To be fair, he is the better 2 of the option, because Valmir is just a red flag standing. And that's all I'm gonna say on that. But as again, you like, let me know what you think in the comments. My thing is never try and plead a case when you are drunk. Do not do that, because especially if you are not a happy drunk, because you clearly came off as though as an angry, like full-on angry dude, because of the fact that Maria said she didn't believe what you were saying, and also she was going to pick Menandro. And he did turn around and says, well, I've lost her to Menandro. It's a bit of a bitter pill to swallow, because at the end of the day, she was his top pick, and he knows that was his own fault in doing that. And I'm like, yeah. Next time, don't come into a freaking experiment like this with a full-on game plan. You're talking to people, like, these are human beings, women with feelings that you're talking to and dealing with, and you're literally spinning them a yarn by telling them the same thing, each and every one of them the same thing, and then saying at the same time that you would not speak this way with any other woman, not realizing that these women are going to go back and chat you. Hopefully you've learned your damn lesson there. Hopefully, I say you've learned your damn lesson, but we shall see through the next episodes. As again, the only couple we know at the moment is Bianca and Jarbas. They've got engaged with each other, and I think the next couple now will be Maria and Menandro, but they haven't picked each other. I know that Karen is flitting between Valmir and Italu, and I think then we get to see more of the couples, because we didn't see all of the people that are talking in them pods, especially the fact that, you know, with the Brazilian one, there is a lot of black and people of colour in there. So in this episode, we didn't really see them highlighted at all anywhere in that episode. The next episode is where they will be highlighted a little bit more. And as I say to my renegades, I will end it there. But please subscribe, like, put your notifications on so you know when I do my next video. And the next video will be Love is Blind Brazil Season 3 Episode 2. And I shall speak to you all soon. Peace out.